Welcome Ajahn Jira and my selected topic classmates, and this is my contribution to our presentation on co-branding. Co-branding is, we must remember first of all, as you can see by the graph, that it comes from marketing, and it is actually a strategic alliance, meaning companies are coming together to form a new product. Let's not also forget that this can be also seen as a co-branding service. So when we think about co-branding, we think about either co-branding communication products, or we think about communicating just general products. On the product side, we can see a parallel product, or we can see an ingredient-based product. On the communication side, we see, once again, this strategic alliance of two different companies coming together. And in this case, we would call that a multiple brand. When it comes to parallel co-branding, we're looking at Ableton Live software and Akai, a hardware brand. Hershey's brand chocolate and Betty Crocker is a good example of an ingredient product. Also Nestle's chocolate and product and more. But when we look under communication branding, we see things like new TV delivery, public venues, traditional broadcast and print, mobile, games, rich media, and advertising, broadcasting fall under the product of communication. When we see the FIFA Cup World Tour joint collaboration with Coca-Cola, we know that falls under multiple brands. Also Coca-Cola and, for example, the Star Wars series would fall under multiple brands in the form of communication. But what about credit cards and bank cards? Where do they fall under? Parallel product co-branding. That's where. When I look at the positives of co-branding, I see a few advantages. For example, at value addition and differentiation. So that basically means that we are adding value to the buyer, and we are also differentiating ourselves from other products by providing what would assume to be a superior product. We also see our positioning advantages, where maybe we can access new markets, people who never thought of us before. We also see better integrated communication between both companies. So that means that you have two different teams thinking as one. It obviously means access to new customers, potential buyers, people who maybe weren't aware of Hershey's but are aware of Betty Crocker. And it also means that we have a reduction in the price and cost of our introduction. So that's a good thing. When I think about disadvantages of product-based co-branding, we know that to a certain extent we're going to lose a bit of control, because now we're dealing with two teams, two different companies, or maybe more, instead of one. And the ultimate failure of product-based co-branding is that there could be this very poor performance of the new brand, the co-brand. When we look at the communications-based co-branding, there are positives and negatives as well. The positive advantage is that, we have many endorsement opportunities. There's all of a sudden many avenues that open up and allow us to push our product in new markets, which also enhances awareness. More people are going to be aware of what we're making. And when it comes to costs, both companies are sharing advertising costs, so that's a good thing. And also sharing resources. So that means that, maybe Nike has a really good resource for rubber and leather, and maybe we as Apple have a really good resource for programmers and software developers. So put our product inside of a shoe, and suddenly the two companies become much greater than they are. Some of the disadvantages of communication-based co-branding is that our companies, your company and mine, may have a very, very massive difference of opinion on where we should go, what we're doing, how to strategize, and that can create a lot of friction and problems. Also, if there is a really poor performance of our new brand, our co-brand, that could lead to both Apple and Nike, in that previous example, having a very negative co-brand image. And that can be really hard to remedy in the future. So co-branding is ultimately about risk, and there are positives and negatives to absolutely consider, as well as funding and profit sharing and etc.